An LLC is a popular business entity structure for small and mid-sized businesses. Big ones too. Everybody's got an LLC. Amazon, Google, your barber. The LLC formation industry is booming. Whether you're a seasoned business owner or just getting started, at some point you'll want to think about an LLC. If you're a seasoned vet, maybe it's time for a real estate investment. Maybe you have some operations that you'd like to separate from your other operations to lower risk. Kudos, that's a top-notch strategy. Maybe you need a holding company for intellectual property or other assets. That helps protect valuable assets from threats linked to higher risk activities. If you're a new business owner, having an LLC helps protect your personal assets from claims against your business. Whatever the reason, you'll know why you need it. You just need to know how to set it up. And here's a little secret I want to let you in on as a business lawyer and a seasoned business owner myself. You do not need to pay someone to do this for you. I'm serious. There are companies out there that will charge you hundreds of dollars to file paperwork that you can do yourself online for free in about 5 to 10 minutes. So today, I'm gonna hold your hand like a high school sweetheart and walk you through exactly how to do it. Now, before we get into the how, let me give you the quick version of what an LLC actually is and why it may be the right tool for what you're doing. And if you find this useful, hit that subscribe button. We put out content like this regularly to help business owners like you make better decisions. An LLC, a limited liability company, is a hybrid business entity. It combines the best parts of a partnership with the best parts of a corporation. Partnership side, you get simplicity and pass-through taxation. Your LLC's income flows through to your personal tax return by default. No double taxation like you'd see with a C corporation, though you can elect for it if you'd like it. From the corporation side, you get limited liability. That means an LLC is its own legal person. If the LLC gets sued or takes on debt, your personal assets are generally shielded. Your house, your savings, your other businesses, they're protected. And here's what makes LLCs especially useful for what you're probably doing. They're incredibly flexible. You can set up one as member managed, where the owners run the show directly, or like a partnership, or manager managed, where you appoint someone to handle operations, more like a corporation with a board and officers. You can have different classes of membership interest with different voting rights or financial rights. You can have one member or 20 or more. The LLC doesn't dissolve when a member leaves or passes away. It's perpetual. In many states, LLCs carry another valuable benefit, anonymity. This means that the identity of the members or managers of the LLC is not public record. For experienced business owners, these benefits can be huge. You're not starting a lemonade stand. You need a structure that can tailor to fit specific purposes within a larger business strategy. The LLC is built for that. All right, let's get into the actual process. To form an LLC, you file what's called Articles of Organization with your state. That's it. That's the document that brings your LLC into existence. Most states have a free online system for this. You go to your state's business filing website, fill out an electronic form, and submit. In Virginia, for example, the State Corporation Commission has an online system that walks you right through it. It's simple, it's intuitive, and it usually carries just a small fee paid to the state to actually form the entity. Now, before you file, you'll need to think through a few things. These can vary from state to state, but there are a few common players. First, you'll need your LLC's name. This is the key identifier you'll use when doing business. Keep in mind 3 things here. 1, the name has to be distinguishable from other entities already on file with the state, so you can't use the exact same name someone else already has. 2, and this one's gonna seem silly, your name also has to include LLC or limited liability company or some other state-approved entity designation. You can't just call it Chris Way is Amazing, for example. It has to be Chris Way is Amazing LLC. 3, legal name is not the same thing as a trademark. A legal name identifies a business for legal purposes like contracts or licenses. A trademark is a source identifier for goods or services in commerce. You can use your legal name as your trademark and vice versa, but one is not automatically the other. And registering for one doesn't have any legal significance for the other. Next, you'll need a registered agent. That's the person or company designated to receive legal documents. This could be like if the LLC gets served with a lawsuit, your registered agent receives it. The registered agent has to have a physical address in the state. No P.O. boxes allowed. Some business owners name themselves, but be warned, if you do this, you are giving up the anonymity benefit I mentioned before. If that matters to you, then slapping your name on the LLC as the registered agent just gutted the benefit you were after. You can use a professional registered agent service if you'd rather not be public or have legal papers showing up at your office in the middle of the workday. Next, you'll need a principal office address. Legally, this is generally where the company's records are stored. It can be the same as your headquarters, main office, or storefront, but it doesn't have to be. Keep in mind that in some states, principal office is a public record. So if you're thinking of using your home address, keep in mind that this might be public information. Take a look at the state's database to confirm this before you file. Once you've made a public record, it's generally always going to be one, even if you change the address later. And yes, through the Freedom of Information Act, many things can be public records. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about, in some states, principal office information is readily available to anyone on the state's website for the state entity database with no special request required. Next, in most states, you'll select whether your LLC is member managed or manager managed. This is a decision really about how centralized you need management and authority to act to be in your LLC. Keep in mind, in a manager-managed LLC, members can be both members and managers. And that's basically it. The form itself takes 5 to 10 minutes to fill out. Now here's where I want to save you some money and some frustration. You will find services online, I won't name names, that will charge you $200, $300, sometimes $500 or more to file this for you. And here's their dirty secret. They're doing the exact same thing you can do yourself on the state's website. They're filling out the same form. You're paying a premium for someone to type your name and address into a government website. Don't do that. If you can order something online, you can file articles of organization. You've got this. Sorry, other me. There are a few LLC structures that are so complex, it is definitely advisable to bring in a lawyer. These are generally going to be things with multiple members that are doing more complex, non-standard business transactions, maybe being used for non-routine purposes. For those, bypass the filing service, but definitely don't do that yourself. Those more complicated structures, those are where you want to loop in a lawyer to help you build that structure into the fabric of the articles of organization and make sure you don't find yourself in a tough spot later on. Okay, Chris, finish up the wrap. Once your LLC is formed, the next step is getting an EIN, an employer identification number from the IRS. Think of it as a social security number for your business. You'll need it to open a bank account and you'll need it for tax purposes. Now, same deal here. You do not need to pay anyone for this. The IRS has a free online tool. It's at irs.gov. It's easy to use and you'll have your EIN in a matter of minutes. But here's the one thing you absolutely need to know. The IRS gives you about 15 minutes to complete the application and save your letter. About 15 minutes. Once you start, finish it. And when you get to the end and it generates your confirmation letter as a PDF, save that immediately. Download it, print it, email it to yourself. Do all three. Because if you lose that letter, getting a replacement from the IRS is, let's just say, not the most enjoyable or speedy process. It's doable, but it's a hassle you don't need. So do yourself a favor. Save the letter the moment you get it. Now, I just told you that you can handle the filing yourself, and you can. But I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you where the real legal work starts. Filing the articles of organization creates the LLC, but the articles don't tell you how the LLC actually operates. That's what your operating agreement does. If your LLC has more than one member, you must have an operating agreement immediately. And that's something you should have a lawyer draft or at least review. But Chris, my partner is my best friend of 15 years. Yes, great. And I'd love for you two to stay friends. Most business disputes aren't because one person was trying to cheat the other. They're usually simple misunderstandings that grow into arguments and destroy trust. And they're mostly preventable with a few conversations and an agreement beforehand. The money you just saved not hiring an expensive lawyer or LLC formation service, this is where you put it. The operating agreement covers things like how profits and losses are split, how decisions get made, what happens if a member wants out, who has authority to do what when acting for the business, and what happens if a member wants to have a separate business, among other topics. Without one, your state's default rules apply. And those defaults are just what the legislature thought might be reasonable for most people, not what's actually best for your specific business. And here's the other piece. If you're forming this LLC to hold assets, real estate, intellectual property, equipment, and your main business is going to use those assets, you need agreements in place between the LLC and your main business. A license agreement for intellectual property, a lease for real estate, a service agreement. These contracts define the relationship between those entities so that if anything goes wrong, your liability protection actually holds up. This is where having a lawyer think through the structure with you pays for itself many times over. The filing is the easy part. The architecture around the LLC is where the real value is. So let's recap. Forming an LLC is something you can absolutely do yourself. Go to your state's online filing system, fill out the articles of organization, pay the state fee, then go to the irs.gov website and get your EIN. Save that confirmation letter. The whole thing should take you 15 to 20 minutes total and cost you little more than the state filing fee. You don't need to pay a filing service or a lawyer to do what you can do for free. If you want to, go for it. But you can save that money for the part that actually requires legal thinking, the operating agreement and the contracts that connect your LLC to the rest of your business. If you need help with that part, Teamway Law is here to help. We'll help you build a structure that protects what you've built and supports where you're going. There's a link to reach us in the description. Until then, keep coming back to our channel for more tips to help your business.